In today's video, we're going to do some load development in 6mm Creedmoor. Small groups is what we're looking for, so we're using the Hornady A-TIP with Hodgins H4350. Welcome to Bolt Action Reloading. Stick around. Welcome to today's video. We have brought back our 6mm Creedmoor for load development today. In case you're not familiar, our test platform today is a Ruger Precision Rifle Generation 2 and 6mm Creedmoor. The scope it's wearing today is a Vortex 4.5-27 Razor Gen 2. Like we mentioned in the introduction, the projectile for today is the 110 grain Hornady A-TIP, part number 24531. These are pretty much Hornady's latest and greatest, very high ballistic coefficient. They're pretty much tailored for 6mm Creedmoor. In case you might not be familiar, these are aluminum tip projectiles to maintain consistency along with a very high ballistic coefficient. The G1 ballistic coefficient is 0.604. If you prefer the G7, the ballistic coefficient is 0.304. Since these are getting a little bit high for caliber, the twist rate does become a factor here. The twist rate required by these is a 1 in 7.7, which is exactly what we have in our Ruger Precision Rifle. Since these tend to be longer, pointier bullets, Hornady actually offers a special seating stem to make sure these things are seated perfectly. I think people have had reasonable luck with the Forester die. However, Hornady does offer a specialized seating stem. The part number is 397139. The powder for today's test really needs no introduction. This is Hodgins H4350, pretty much the gold standard when it comes to the Creedmoor, 6.5 or 6 Creedmoor. This is one of Hodgins Extreme Series powders for temperature stability. If this is powder as an option, it's certainly one of the ones you'd like to try out. The CCI-250 Large Rifle Magnum Primer has been a great performer with us in the past with H4350. I expect no different today, and our initial 10-shot test was developed with this primer as well. Brass, a little bit different story. We're actually reusing some factory brass today. It is Hornady head stamp brass, but all from the same package of ammunition. Only 20 pieces of brass for today's test, but that's all we're going to need. This is actually going to be its third firing. We haven't really done a whole lot special to it. It's been annealed, full-length size. The neck tension's been set at exactly 2 thousandths, trimmed to length, chamfered, and deburred. Today's video for this combination is actually the second stage in our load development series. We have ran a incremental load development chart, aka the Scott Satterley 10-shot load development ladder test on it, and we have generated a velocity curve. Looking at our velocity curve real quick, we initially started at 40.2 grains and worked up to 42 grains in 0.2 grain increments. If attaining max velocity was of no concern to us, we really would have done some more load development around the 40.8 and 41 grain mark, but looking for a higher node if possible, we really did want to investigate more around that 41.8 grain area in our curve. Looks like we've got a reasonable flat spot there, and that's what we're going to be exploring today. There is actually load data on Hornady's website for this specific combination. I will warn you if you're interested, 41.7 grains is actually what they call out to be max load. However, they are estimating a velocity of 3,050 feet per second. If you're familiar with Hornady data, you'll be aware that a lot of times Hornady groups projectiles, and this is no different. The same 108 grain ELD-M projectile that is loaded in Hornady's match ammunition is on the same load data as the 110 grain A-TIP. So Hornady is basically listing them as interchangeable. To do some pressure and load validation, just to give us an idea on our initial load development, we actually went to quick load and used the 108 grain ELD-M in quick load to get our pressure and velocity estimates. I'll put a quick chart on your screen and you can see, starting at 40.2 grains, the estimate quick load gave us was going to be 2870 feet per second, and at 42 grains we were going to see 2987 feet per second. Our actual development started off at 2980 and ended at 2985, so we were very, very close to quick load's estimates. Really, it's hard to do much better than that. And going just a little bit higher, you can see at 42.2 grains is where quick load thought we were going to be just over pressure. 62,000 is the max PSI and 62,046 was our guesstimate. Not that we're really trying to push the limits, but we are trying to explore that upper node. So we are going to go slightly over max in today's testing. All this initial information out of the way, let's get into our actual load testing for today. Our official load test for today is using the Hornady A-TIP, part number 24531. Our third firing on our Hornady brass is our brass for today primer, the CCI-250 Large Rifle Magnum Primer. And our Hodgins H4350, we're going to be starting off at 41.6 grains and going to 42.2 grains in 0.2 grain increments. The cartridge overall length for today's testing was 2.810 inches, which is going to put us at a CBTO of 2.190 inches. We are really exploring the top node there on our chart, going slightly over our maximum load. If you're unfamiliar with these graphs, essentially what we're really looking for is spots where the velocity is initially changed very little from one charge weight to the next. With our results for today, we are really hoping to see something around the 41.8 grain mark, but we're loading a little bit below that and above it just to see exactly where that falls and to see if we've actually got a spot there we can expect to get some repeatable results. Getting right into our results, at 41.6 grains, we actually had an average velocity of 3,005 feet per second, an unfortunate standard deviation of 15.7 with an extreme spread of 38, but a pretty good group to start the day at 0.663 MOA. Moving up to 41.8 grains, our average velocity actually dropped slightly to 2997 feet per second, standard deviation of 6.4, extreme spread of 15, and a 0.680 MOA group. Moving right on to 42 grains, our average velocity increased to 3,015 feet per second, standard deviation jumped to 26.3, extreme spread of 65, and a largest group of the day at 0.880 MOA. Moving on to our max charge, we probably didn't even need to shoot. We actually increased again to 3032 feet per second. Standard deviation dropped slightly to 18.9, extreme spread of 52, but again a reasonable group at 0.679 MOA. Now if you saw the velocities we achieved today and our previous testing, it was about 20 degrees warmer when we ran our testing today versus when we ran our initial load development curve. However, it seems that our velocity node stayed right where we expected it to be, and that's always certainly nice when it works out that way. Overall, I really don't have anything bad to say about these A-TIPs. It's very clear that these things will shoot well on our rifle. Most groups under 0.7 MOA today, and our crazy extreme spread of 65 there did yield our largest group. If a 0.880 MOA group is the largest group I shot in a day, that would certainly be a great day for me. Compared to Hornady's data, we really didn't hit that 3,050 feet per second velocity that we saw in our load data, but we really didn't expect to, and according to Quick Load's pressures, we really shouldn't be loading there anyway. That aside, let's actually take a look at our brass real quick. As far as reading the primers here, there's really nothing to be concerned with, at least in my opinion. Very round edges, no marks on the case heads whatsoever. These look like everyday light loads. Certainly out of all the places we loaded today, I would not hesitate to load at 41.8 grains. So our final group there, well under 3/4 of an MOA, extreme spread of 15, that's a load I would take to the bank all day long and twice on Sunday. Overall, I think we had a very successful range trip today. I think our results are very good, and another good one to notch in the belt of our 6mm Creedmoor load development series here on YouTube. If you're unfamiliar with this series and you'd like to check it out, I will put a card up and you can check out that playlist. That playlist will include all of the load development we've done so far with our Ruger Precision Rifle in 6mm Creedmoor. YouTube will put a couple more videos on the screen here to see if there's something else you might like. If you like the video content here, think about hitting that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you get notified when I post next week's video. I hope to see you come back next week. And until then, stay safe in small groups.